Hey guys, how we doing? Today we're gonna make a roasted butternut squash puree with pulled pork, a white wine vanilla honey, and toasted pistachio powder. We're gonna go ahead and get started. What we have here is a really hot pan. Got grapeseed oil. We got some sweet yellow onions. This is 2 jalapenos, de-seeded. That's going to give us a little bit of heat. Kosher salt. Fresh cracked pepper. As we develop some flavor there, I got some bacon. And of course, you can use any type of bacon you like. What I have here is an uncured applewood bacon that is made here in Texas. It's that Peterson's brand that I've been using on a lot of these demos. We just want to render out that fat. While that cooks, I'm going to grab a mixing bowl. We're going to come over here. The recipe will follow, but what I have is these are butternut squash that I've scored. I've added a little brown sugar. See how tender they are? I've added a little brown sugar, some butter, some salt and pepper, and a touch of cayenne. What we're going to do is we're just going to cut that meat out. And you want to make sure that you get the meat and all that liquid. Well, it's falling apart on me here. All that meat, but not the skin. And I guess before I meat it all up, let's get all this flavor. See all that liquid? That's what you want. You don't want to waste any of that. This takes a while, and of course the recipe that will follow on the website will show you, but you need a lot for probably about 2 hours for these to roast. You don't want to speed the process on it because you want to develop all that flavor with all the sugar, the natural sugars that are in the squash. You want to make sure you get all that natural sugar nice and caramelized. If you rush it, you're going to take the chance of burning it. We're going to come over here and add our squash that we roasted off with brown sugar, cayenne, a little bit of butter. We're going to push this to the back. We're going to let that simmer. All right, now we're going to finish off this soup. We've been letting this soup simmer. I got a little hot chicken stock here. We're going to add some stock to get it to the right consistency before we puree it. It's okay for this to be a little thinner right here because once you puree it, it will tighten back up. So all we're doing now is we're going to wait for this to come up to a boil, and then we're going to puree it, the fun part. Now this soup is really good, and you're going to see there's a couple steps that I take that makes it get it nice and creamy and velvety without adding a bunch of cream to it. Now, if you don't have this type of machine at home, you are going to want something like a little hand wand or a little hand, what do they call it, emulsifier. Or if you make daiquiris or smoothies, whatever that is, will work perfect. All right, while that comes up to a boil, I'm going to walk through everything else that we're going to need to do this. I got some pulled pork here, which there's going to be a recipe posted for this. Very simple pork butt smoked. This is an Italian loaf that they bake in the bake shop, and they dry them out and toast them with a little bit of sea salt. We're going to use that as a garnish. So, let's start pureeing, why don't we? We're going to put this right there because that's where the finished product's going to go. And I don't ever fill this up. For one, I don't want it to, all that heat to build up and the top blow off, and also the more you put in there, the less smooth you're going to be able to get it. So you want to make sure you're getting all your goodies, chicken stock, your bacon, your roasted squash, your onions, and your jalapeno. What is that? That's about halfway, right? We're going to get a little more broth. Man, this is a great soup for this time of year. The squash are nice and ripe. All right, so now we're going to come to the blender. We're going to start off on low. Always start off on low. And then we're going to let it go on high for about a minute. While it's pureeing, I'm going to take the top off and add a touch of olive oil. This is going to give it that nice velvety, creamy consistency instead of adding a bunch of fatty, heavy cream. There we go. It's coming together really nice. All right. I think we're ready. Be careful when you take the top off. We're going to pour this in a sauce pot. If you can see how it's nice and smooth and creamy. There we go. Actually, let's take a little bit of it out. There we go. Okay, now we're going to come back on the stove with that. So you're going to need a little whisk. I have a big whisk. And a touch of butter. You're going to mix this up. It's already really, really, really hot. But we'll turn the heat on a little bit just so it doesn't cool off. We're just going to mix that up until that butter is all nice and smooth in there. And then we're going to go to the plate. This is so perfect for this time of year, and the way I'm going to show you how to plate this up, it's very simple, and it's going to look really nice on the plate. I like to use a ladle so I don't get the edges of the bowl dirty, so it looks nice and pretty. See how thick that is? Now, if that's too thick for you, you can always thin it out. But this is a good, hearty, rich soup. Now we've got our bread. Put that right on there. We've got our pork. You're going to put your pork right on the bread. And then I got another piece of bread that we'll put on there. It's like a pork sandwich with soup. Put that right on there. And then I've got a white wine Villa honey, which the recipe will be on there, but this is very simple and it's such a great little touch. We're just going to drizzle it on. So it gives it a nice pretty look, but also gives it a little flavor. We're going to put a touch of crushed pepper or cracked black pepper on there just to give it a nice fresh kick. And then some chive. And I'm going to tell you what. Looks so good I can't say no. We're going to get a little bit of this pork on there, a little bit of white wine Villa honey. That's a great winter soup.